Big Al Podcast with your host, Al Bishop, unfiltered and uncut.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm joined today by the one on everybody's lips of the past weekend, Jasen MONEY from merwe. Welcome to the show, brother, and thanks very much for your time. How's it going?
I need a pleasure to be out. It's going very good, man.
Fantastic, man. Obviously, you were the talk of the town on the weekend, stepping up to take a fight on a couple of hours' notice, realistically. Just talk us through that whole process, man, from obviously receiving the call from, I would guess it was Graham, and to talking to your team and accepting the fight. Just talk us through how that all worked out.
So it was quite a funny process. We had just started camp. We were about 2 weeks into camp, preparing for June. Myself and Warren King have got EFC 71. That was our earmark event to make a comeback. You know, I've been out of action for well over a year now.
Sure.
And so I got the call, funny enough, from Grant. It wasn't from Graham. Graham had called someone from Tapad, Anton, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Looking for fighters, and then Anton phoned around, and Grant said immediately, "No, I know a guy who'll take the fight." And you know, the moment Grant called me, is like, you know, it's a big fight. Will you take it on? Put it out. It's like, it is a big fight, but it is also a winnable fight. We'll never take a fight we don't think we can win.
Sure.
And yeah, from there I was literally on my way to the gym the Thursday afternoon, and I had to smash in an hour game plan and then go get my blood test done.
And then our camp, eh?
Yeah, no, okay. And coincidentally, the fight was matched at 73, which is where my normal walk-around weight is.
Okay.
So I have spent the last year. Normally, you know, previously I have had a few cuts that have been somewhat tough, but I've never walked around as light as what I am now.
Okay.
Normally we're walking around at 77, sometimes even 84 kilos for bantamweight fights, which is massive. So I've spent the last year focusing on that, and we're on the weight. We're not going to cut any weight. Let's take the fight and let's get in there.
Okay, and obviously taking a last-minute fight like that is surely less than ideal, but do you think, like, for your, let's say, for your stock as a fighter, win or lose, you can only really increase your stock because everyone kind of tips their hat to say, well, geez, man, this dude's got the balls to stand up on such short notice. So do you feel like it's a win-win kind of situation?
Yeah, 100%. You know, I weighed it up very briefly, and I would be honest with you, if I was a 10-0 fighter that was building a title run or legacy, the conversation might have been different.
Sure.
But everyone that knows me close enough, knows me as a person, knows every time I step in there, it's purely just for the love of the sport. Like, any time you're going to ask me to glove up and throw hands at someone or try to be the better man on the night, I'm going to accept it. So yeah, the stock, I think if you're looking at it as, if you look at my fighter aspect of the stock market, I think it's definitely up on a win-win. Essentially, Saturday night was the fifth weight division I fought in. I fought anyway from fly up to Walter. It's crazy. You know, it's a 24-hour notice, and I don't think that the fight was a one-sided fight. Anisid was in trouble with the guillotine. The armbar was on tight.
Sure.
And I was comfortable. And as an athlete, I had a mental breakthrough. We take the surrounding circumstances, which I'm sure we can get in later, but I mean, from 48-hour notice to being bumped onto the main card, and I had been out for over a year. There was a lot surrounding that fight, and probably the most comfortable I felt on the night. So I'm really looking forward to the next one. My brief chat with Graham finding this fight is I will take the fight provided he keeps me on the 71 card that I've targeted for. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
100%, man. I just want to click back to that fight with Anisid. You mentioned there were a couple of times where you had him in trouble. Do you think that, like, upon reflection, if you could have done that with a couple of weeks to prepare, you would have been able to finish? Was fatigue an issue?
Fatigue was definitely an issue. I think it was fatigue that got the better of me. It wasn't even like, I always preach to everyone that results are few and far between, but safety's first.
Sure.
I mean, I came at the fight unscathed. I will be getting back to the gym tonight. No time off. And fatigue did weigh in. He was a lot bigger and stronger. As I said, it is 3 weight divisions up to where I normally compete at.
Sure.
I am essentially a bantamweight, and I have even made the cut down to flyweight. So fighting at 73 is far from ideal.
Sure.
But I did believe that I had the skill set to put him in trouble. And going into the fight, I did believe I could have won it. He was the better man on the night, and props to him, man. But if you had to call me and ask me if I would do it again, no doubt.
Respect, man, 100%. So you say looking forward, you've struck a bit of a deal with Graham for EFC 71. Do you have an opponent in mind, or any update on that?
We don't have any opponents and nothing signed. I only renewed my contract at Medicals.
Okay.
Signed the fine contract the last weekend. So we've got no opponents in mind. We haven't discussed opponents as yet. But I'm comfortable fighting anybody. Even if you look at my record, guys like Gary Joshua, Martin De Beer, NSC, it's only top 3. So whatever fight Graham feels is the fight to put on, I'll take.
100%, man. I just wanted to cover a bit of ground there with you. You mentioned in the beginning we haven't seen you for some time. It's I think it was April last year, maybe. It was the Cape Town card. What has been happening that you've been off for some time?
So basically, at the end of last year, a lot happened. I'm newly married, so we got married. My wife, my long-time life partner, we've been together for 18 years.
Okay.
Kylie's been with me from my very first amateur fight, but we got married, started a new job, and also we opened up Fight Evolution, which came together very quickly. The gym's very, very new, but the opportunity came towards last year, September, August, and I've been very hands-on there, so I haven't had time to focus on myself, mate. Up until now, we're now at a place where we can establish camps. We've got a good bunch of training guys around us, good coaches, so we can be competitive.
Okay. And you guys have obviously got quite a little young fight team going there. Tell us about that. You've got a couple of guys competing in Fight Stars and so on. Just give us a little rundown of what's happening there.
So coming up on the 12th of May, we've got Rocky Buffet, who he's been with us since World of Warriors days. I've got about an 8-year relationship with him as well. We've also got Chooks that's come across from Valhalla that's entering the lightweight, searching for a scrap. He's 10-3 at the moment and obviously looking to go pro sometime soon. So as a gym, we decided the best way for us to get to know him is to throw him into a competition of searching for a scrap. Sure. Where he's going to face only the best amateurs on the continent, and then we'll get to know more about him, and at the end of the competition we'll then do an assessment and decide from there what's the best move is for Chooks. And then I've got a few guys that have got a nice junior squad growing. We've got 2 phenomenal juniors. They are both 12 and 13 years old respectively, and they're turning heads every comp we send them to. Gold and silver. Sometimes I even have to get them to teach each other between each other for the gold medal because I never want the 2 boys to compete against each other. So the team is building nicely. We've got a great support structure and a lot of people that have taken their belief and just put it in us.
Yeah, awesome stuff, man. And we wish all the best with that. It's nice to see new gyms and new blood and new talent coming through. I think it's massively important for the future of the sport, and obviously we respect any of you guys that have taken the chance, because at the end of the day it is a risky business and it's a passion versus profit business. So good luck with all of that. Jasen, obviously there was a bit of a cloud. You released a bit of a statement yesterday. So we were in touch and we kind of wanted to cover the basis just to give you guys also a platform to hear your side with a bit of a weird incident. Obviously, you had Simon Hall in your guys' camp and there was a lot of confusion. I think a lot of people are on two sides of the fence with the situation, and you said to me that there was a couple of weird things happening with regards to you guys. He was part of your guys' camp. Just give us a rundown from your guys' side of exactly what happened with Simon and what led to your status, obviously regarding safety first, as you've said before.
100%. So briefly, before we get to the Simon story, I just want to touch on a few guys that I've had previously in the gym. So, for instance, we had a guy named Kobus Palser that was a part of our team. He fought, maybe towards the end of last year, he fought for the EWC featherweight title. I only then later found out that Kobus had suffered, I think, concussions in the last year or that. And my recommendation to him was that I'm not going to allow him to take any impact to his head until I've got briefing from or clearance from a doctor and a neurosurgeon telling me that he's safe to compete.
Sure.
At no time will we put any athletes into competition that we feel that they might get injured. So going back to the Simon pull-out and that, unfortunately it was the Monday before the fight we had sat down with Simon and said to him that we don't feel you're ready for the fight. Your conditioning and that isn't where it should be as a professional on a professional platform. As a team, we don't think that this fight is a good idea. And if you do continue to pursue the fight, you would have to do it independently. And that is the route that Simon chose. I have got a long-term friendship with Simon that goes way longer than our time at Fight Evolution. But unfortunately, I had to make the call where you are way up Simon's life, or you could seriously be injured, or do ask him not to compete. I did ask him not to compete, and it wasn't a decision made by just myself. It's discussed with all the coaches in the gym as well as the management, and collectively we found that he wasn't ready for the job on the Saturday night fight, and we had tried to do what we can to recover it and try keep him on board, but unfortunately his decision was to carry on pursuing the fight, and that's what he done.
Okay, so you guys as a team felt that he hadn't put in enough work and he was putting himself in a bit of a dangerous situation to actually go through with the fight, and you guys had made that call by almost Monday already. So do you know what were the reasons for him medically being pulled out? Because obviously there's been the rounds that he took a head kick somewhere along the line. Was that with you guys or was that with somewhere else?
Okay, so honestly, the head kick incident did happen with us on the Saturday. It wasn't. There has been no. We can't say that there was a concussion. Simon was very fatigued, but it was definitely a clear knockdown.
Sure.
And this was the result. So let me bring you into light of what we do as a team. So we have a workout that replicates MMA fights, and from our amateurs to our pro, you've got a time cap. Finish the workout within the time cap. We know that you are fit enough to get in every save. You know.
Sure.
And I mean, Saturday night the fight against Innocence is a pure example. I fatigued and I gassed in the first round, but I came out safe. I was conditioned enough to get in, compete, and come out safe without having any trauma to my brain, without having heavy blows. And then we also do a final team sparring that generally will test the athlete, make sure that his head and heart is in the right place. And it was during this final sparring session where the big kick took place, and it was midway through the second round, and where we called it, and we said, listen, we'll try and work around it. And after reviewing it and looking at all the possibilities, because I said to him on the day, I was like, listen, I don't have an immediate answer for you now. I need to look at all the possibilities. And one of them was you have taken a big blow to your head. John Besaidenoid has got phenomenal kickboxing. He did nearly land a big head kick on Triple H.
Sure.
Do we risk the chance of you getting beat on the ground? Remember, I have been training partners with a guy like Cedric Doyle after Cedric had the incident with his shot. And to have that happen to someone that's close to you, really, an uncomfortable situation. So my call to Simon was, please do not pursue the fight any further. I don't think it really, as a friend and as a coach.
Okay. So, sorry, Jason, just to kind of establish that a little bit more, what exactly was your guys' reasons? Were you more worried about the head injury or just the general conditioning of Simon the week before the fight?
Going in, the main concern was the head injury. We were concerned about his fitness, but we thought that he would have enough just to get through. But the main concern was the big blow to the head, knowing that Jean Besaidenout could repeat the same, and having possibly your lights turned off 2 weeks in a row isn't ideal for anyone, especially at Simon's age. Recovery is not overnight. You've got to train a little bit smarter around your camp and that, and being knocked out 2 weeks in a row, or having the possibility of being knocked out 2 weeks in a row, is never ideal for anybody.
No, 100%, man, and especially against, obviously you guys have paid a lot of respect to his opponent, Juan, who's a young bull, who's coming out to realistically put his opponent away. He's not the kind of guy who's built on a 3-round decision. He's really going to get in and get after it, and I think that was in his mind. So, well, from my opinion, and I'm someone who will really advocate really trying to have a long career and really avoid head injury. I mean, it's such a massive thing. And you did also mention Simon's age. I mean, he's no young buck anymore, realistically. And honestly, I'm sure you guys have had a whirlwind of emotions over the last couple of days, man. But realistically, I think you guys, in my opinion, did the right thing and try to help somebody out there, man. And kudos to you guys, man. You're obviously on the right track, and your heart and mind is in the right place. And realistically, there should be more people like you saying things like this to fighters. Look, you've taken an injury, you sustained an injury. there's nothing that can really be worth your life or sustained injuries, man. It's quite crazy, actually.
100%, and all props to a promotion like EFC, like fighters. I mean, both organizations, even as an amateur now, when you step into the cage, you've got medical insurance. You know that you're medical covered. But with it being said, I mean, I've been doing this now for close to 10 years. Last week Saturday was the 19th time I walked into the cage. And the most serious injury I've had is a broken toe that's happened in training. And, fortunately, I've had the right grooming throughout my career that's got me to these points where I realize safety is first. Like, live and fight another day. I'll tell guys in the gym, if you're going to lose, a choke, you can withstand a little bit, but an arm bar or an ankle, tap to it. It's not worth 6 months of a match.
Sure.
Not only do you affect your personal life, but you affect your own personal development. You affect the people around you, because you can't train while you're on crutches. Your training partners need partners. This is probably the most, how can I say, sport that you need your team the most, but you only get individual recognition.
Sure.
Like, I mean, I'll take the past weekend, and let's say in a perfect world, we got the win over Anderson. None of my team members would have got praise for it. Nobody would have said, but geez, these coaches are doing well, or his team's done well for him. It would be, look what he's accomplished. And people need to start realizing that the team behind the person, and you take a guy, take John Jones, probably one of the greatest fighters of all time. It's his team surrounding him that's got him to where he is. Look at Conor McGregor. It's all team praise,
Sure.
And I really hope that maybe out of this, people start getting a new respect for their team surrounding them as well, and realize that the team only want what's best for you. And if your team's telling you that they don't think you're ready for competition, hold back and think what you need to do to No one wants to see anyone hurt.
Sure.
It's been a hurt business, but no one wants to intentionally try to hurt each other.
No, 100%, man. And I think that's 100% accurate. Also, I think people have to realize that MMA is not this blood sport that everyone thinks it is. Obviously it is a blood sport, but you guys are athletes and professional athletes at the same time. So you wouldn't send a rugby player with a concussion onto the field, and I think people need to start seeing MMA in the same light. Just because you're categorized as a fighter doesn't mean you have to get smashed up. The fighters are getting smarter and smarter by the day, and I think honestly, in my opinion anyway, you guys did the right thing and made the right call, and it sounds like your young fight team is really on the right track. Jasen, again, thank you very much for your time, bud. We really appreciate it, and nice to get the clarity from your guys' side, and we wish you all the best and look forward to seeing you at EFC 71, man.
Thanks, Al. And yeah, as soon as I've got details, I'm sure I'll probably sit with my manager in this week, and then we will, as soon as we've got fight details, I will be posting that. So just stay tuned.
100%, man. That's Jasen van der Merwe. Check out its Fight Evolution. Am I right? You guys are based in Galulis. Cool, man.
That's 100% correct.
Go and check it out, and if you're in the area, go and jump in and get a session with them. And thanks very much, brother, and we'll chat to you soon.
Okay, thanks. I'll enjoy your day further.
Thanks, you too, brother. We're out.
Cheers, man.
Ciao,
Bye.
man.